Happy Saturday, Risers. We hope you're having a phenomenal weekend. Saagar and I are back with some of our favorite moments from the week.
That's right. First, we spoke to author and economics professor at Bard College, Pavlina Chernerva. She explained how she hopes a federal jobs guarantee is going to change society. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
Well, it will change the landscape, and I think for the better. I mean, do we want a society where people are struggling, where they cannot find employment, or when they find that employment, that is unstable and poorly paid employment? I think, yes, first and foremost, this is a moral claim that we believe that if anyone is participating, they shouldn't be doing or want to participate, they shouldn't do it under duress. But second, we would like to establish some basic standards. What does it mean for somebody to have a good job, to be able to support a family? One job perhaps should be enough. And at a minimum, it should pay a basic living wage.
Blown away by the fact that 93% of Americans want some sort of large-scale federal jobs program, and yet not really included in our political conversation at all.
Yeah, and that was, when we were both preparing for the segment, we were like, wait,
is that right?
Is that right? And she was like, yeah, it's right. And I was like, oh man. I was like, that's pretty high. Yeah, it's an amazing takeaway, and it's always just so frustrating to realize what could be done as opposed to what's being done here in D.C., but that's the story.
Yeah, also I didn't like the way my hair looked that day.
Oh.
Anyway, next up. We spoke to New York Assemblyman Ron Kim about threats that he's received from Governor Andrew Cuomo. We asked why the governor was so intent on receiving a liability shield for nursing homes to protect them from any bad behavior. Here's what he had to say.
If you follow the money, Governor Cuomo got about $1.5 million in campaign donations from the same industry lobbyist who wrote the language of the legal immunity, who bragged about it on the press release, and then immediately took it down because once I found out, and I voted against that budget, but once I found out the details, what it meant, I immediately put in a repealer bill and called them out and issued 3 reports. One report called License to Kill, but that's really what I felt like we did. Like, imagine an industry that's 65% for profits, and the first thing you do at the peak of the pandemic is give them a blanket immunity. Do you think they're going to invest in PPE and hire more staff? No. We made that argument, and all of a sudden, they decoupled the number. We were at number 1, number 2 nursing home deaths, and the moment they decoupled it, we ranked number 33, 34, and no one started talking about it, and we didn't have the rationale anymore to repeal it. And that's really, in my opinion, what happened here, and he needs to be held accountable for those decisions.
Yeah.
After this interview, I am now officially a Ron Kim stan. You'll be seeing more of him on this show. He was so courageous, so ahead of the curve.
He was.
He talked about
April.
He took a report to the UN saying there were human rights violations trying to do anything to get attention to this. Way ahead of the curve. He's now leading the charge in terms of Cuomo impeachment and facing his wrath, as Cuomo put it. Really important interview, really courageous guy. I was glad to talk to him.
I felt so bad for that guy because you could tell he actually cared about the issue. He had been reporting on this since April. Couldn't get anybody in the media to take it seriously, and we should be elevating him and his work because he actually truly cares about what happened here.
Absolutely.
Finally, we spoke with friend of the show and host of Pushback, Aaron Mate, about Nancy Pelosi's proposed 9/11-style commission to look into the January 6 riots at the Capitol. He explained why this is an incorrect response. Here's what he had to say.
Well, it's a classic response to a terrible event, which is that people in power will use it to increase their own power and increase control and surveillance over citizens. Same thing happened with 9/11. Thankfully, there have been some progressives in Congress who wrote a letter strongly opposing any passage of new domestic terror laws and accurately pointing out that what we have on the books is already extremely excessive, so we don't need anymore. And it's a part of just this overall climate where, especially the last 4 years with Russiagate, the national security state has been deemed the answer to everything. So Trump, for example, instead of opposing him on his policies, it was the FBI that was going to save us. Well, where was the FBI, for example, on January 6th? So when you're not rooted in policies that really help people, like, for example, giving them the $2,000 stimulus checks that you promised, you have to look to create outside threats and things to scare people about and to scare them into submission to policies that will just increase domestic power centers that already have plenty of power, more power than they need.
And what did we see after this interview? New research came out showing that number one concern for Democrats of all the issues, not income inequality, not climate change, not any, Donald Trump supporters. Number one issue. Literally. And mirror image on Republican side, it's like Antifa and socialism and all this stuff. It contributes to it leads to a police state. I mean, there's just no other way to say it.
Yeah, it is. And you go down this road, 9/11 style commission and 9/11 style response against fellow citizens, and you're going to there's the only way. There's only one way that it works out.
That does it for us. We're going to be back later today with the week that was in media screw-ups.
Hit the subscribe button. You don't miss any of our videos. Don't forget to like and share as well. Tomorrow, going to be back for another round of #RisingQs. See you all then.
Have a good one, guys.